Hello, welcome to Mirror Interpretation Todorova. This is Ioana. I will be your interpreter. I will interpret everything you say and keep it confidential. Please speak in short phrases. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for your subscription, likes. I hope this video is gonna be useful again for you. So today lection or class is about clarifying if necessary. Let's remember or repass the past class. The main role of the interpreter is conduct, which is the message converter from one language to another, meaning to meaning interpretation without adding, omitting, submitting, or changing anything. Meaning interpretation, right? So, clarifier. Clarify, it's if necessary. So I'm gonna talk about when it's okay to clarify and intervene. Intervene mean come between and interrupt the speaker and the lab. Clarify means to make something more easy to understand. Transparent communication means everyone know what is being said. And in today's class, you're gonna learn how to transparently clarify or intervene in interpretation session. When clarifying is necessary. If the interpreter needs a repetition from the speaker, how we intervene. Hello, this is the interpreter speaking. Interpreter need a repetition. Can you repeat, please? Thank you. If the interpreter need the speaker to use shorter phrases. Hello, this is the interpreter speaking. Can you please use shorter phrases or pause? Thank you. We intervene again if the speaker does not pause and does not leave space for the interpreter to interpret. So how we do that again, this is the interpreter speaking. Can you please pause so interpreter can more accurately interpret? Thank you. We intervene when there is a linguistic, cultural or barrier or communication difficulty or concern of misunderstanding. If the speaker uses language that interpreter does not understand, how we intervene. Hello, this is the interpreter speaking. Can you clarify for the interpreter, please? Thank you. If the interpreter suspect or have sense that the patient or the lab person does not understand what has been said, again, the interpreter intervene transparently. How? This is the interpreter speaking. Madam, sir, can you please clarify for the lab? Can you please explain? Thank you. Sometimes interpreters allow themselves to clarify or simplify, but to use best practice is best you allow the provider to do so. It's just gonna keep you more professional and more safe in your profession, right? If the speaker use terms that need an explanation or have a cultural framework that needs to be explained again in order to avoid confusion, so the speaker or the interpreter, let's say the interpreter want to offer a cultural framework. Interpreter does not just start speaking and explaining something, but intervene. Hello, madam, sir, this is the interpreter speaking. Interpreter is offering a cultural framework explanation. Interpreter wants to clarify a cultural difference, right? You offer only, but you cannot impose the cultural difference. You cannot impose to give this framework. You have to have a permission in order to be professional, right? It's okay to intervene for the interpreter if we speak or if the provider use very high register level of formality. High register is extremely high, formal and complex way of expression in medical, legal, business field, and so on. So to lower a register means to simplify from a specific term to a simple explanation of meaning of something. So if you have to keep best practices as an interpreter, you're obligated to interpret on the same register level, on the same level. If it's highly technical, you should simply interpret highly technical and do your best. But if the interpreter sees that the other side does not understand the conversation or there is a confusion, as an interpreter, you should request a possibility to lower a register. So you always ask for permission and say, Madam, sir, this is the interpreter speaking. May I lower the register in order to interpret more clearly, because the client or the patient lack of understanding. You always ask for permission to lower the register. Another situation when it's difficult to interpret directly or clearly or transparently, when a word or a phrase does not have equivalent in another language. So you may understand the meaning and you may be able to explain it, but it's best to ask the provider to explain. And this is the best way to do it. I think it's the best practice, even though if you read the best practice like standards, there would be a different suggestions there that you can use provider to explain or use description of what is said. But in order to be professional, the best thing to do is ask the provider to explain. How do you do that? Madam, sir, this is the interpreter speaking. Interpreter is asking you, please, can you explain the meaning of the word, of the phrase? Can you clarify so I will interpret more accurately? Thank you. So if there is, let's say, talking about words or phrases or context that does not have equivalence from one language to another, we have a word or phrase that you can describe, even though me as an interpreter, even perceiving the symbolic meaning of word or a phrase and knowing that there is no equivalence, I require always the provider to do the explanation, to do the work, because you avoid complications, you're transparent, and you stay in the framework, in the frame of an interpreter, because the main job as an interpreter is to stay on the frame as conduct, a message converter. You are not there to explain anything, you're there only to facilitate the communication. And the best way so far, due my experience, if you need something to be clarified, you can explain to the provider that there is not such a framework or not equivalent for a word, so the provider will explain the way they find the best, the way they understand the best the meaning of this phrase or a word, right? So as an interpreter, though, you have to interpret everything that is said in a faithful way that the listener will understand. Offer to clarify or request a clarification when there is lack of understanding, when you as an interpreter suppose that the other part did not understand you. But please, guys, remember, every time that you come out of the role of conduct, you are risking, because your main role is to convert the meaning of the message conveyor, right? Conduct role. So every time you come out of this role, you ask permission. So this allows you to be elegant and stay professional and respect the boundaries of the role of the interpreter. So thank you for being here, guys. That was everything for the clarifier role. I hope you find this video useful. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, write a comment. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.